Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well. The US House of Representatives will vote for the aid for Ukraine, Israel, and some East Asian, whatever hanky-panky these guys want to start over there on the 20th of April. 20th of April. So I guess big decisions will be made then. Well, I suspect no decision will be made on the 20th. But nevertheless, we have here from Sputnik the text of the Ukraine-Israel-Taiwan foreign aid bill. So let me read you what the text says. It was released by the Weasels, and they're going to vote for it or against it on the 20th. And we're going to discuss what kind of garbage is this. Here it is, coming from Sputnik. US House releases Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan foreign aid bill texts. Now, these guys were able to ignite this. They were able to resuscitate this. And the next one is this. Okay? Okay. The US House of Representatives released bill texts on Wednesday for legislation with aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, ahead of votes on the bills on Saturday. The bills provide $60 billion, $61 billion in Ukraine-related funding, $26.38 billion in Israel-related funding, and $8.12 billion to counter China. We always counter someone. We are always defending, and we are self-defense, protecting the good from the evil. In Indo-Pacific region, according to a U.S. House Appropriations Committee summary. The legislation also requires the state and defense departments to submit a U.S. strategy on Ukraine within 45 days of the bill's adoption. That means make a plan. It's going to be a new invasion somewhere. So as you can tell, we are helping defend their interests. We have nothing to do. We just are doing it voluntarily, and we are very unselfish for doing that. And China wants to extend or expand in the Far East. Russia wants to do it in Europe, and Iran wants to do it in the Middle East. Now, baboons, that's what you are fed. And baboons believe it. We don't. Why? Because we know what's going on. So let's read further. House lawmakers are set to vote on the bills on Saturday evening, House Speaker Mike Johnson said in a message to colleagues earlier on Wednesday. Washington's Ukraine aid bill, PPP, poop. The Ukraine aid bill will be considered by U.S. lawmakers this week, which required the U.S. president to enter an arrangement with Kiev related to repayment of U.S. economic assistance, provided the country. A draft will be revealed. U.S. economic assistance. So that should read banks, right? So banks. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, I'm quoting, not later than 60 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the president shall enter into an arrangement with the government of Ukraine relating to the repayment to the banks by Ukraine to the United States of economic assistance provided to Ukraine by the United States. The draft text stated, because we have the money. We borrow it, we print it. So what money do we have? The Ukraine aid bill would also prohibit, this is interesting, the U.S. president from any move to cancel Ukraine's debt prior to November 15, 2024. But it would allow for canceling 50% of that debt after that date, according to proposed. This is just a guy who is used, not used, he likes to be used. He's not like he's used, like a victim. He's activated to do a job. And after he does that, then who the hell, whatever happens, it happens. He's going to be removed. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. He's going to go away. And another guy will be activated to continue the work. And then that's going to be sent away. And another one. That's how these guys are advancing their policies. I will explain in a different video. Ready? Aid bill requires prompt delivery of long-range ATACMS missiles. The Ukraine bill also requires President Biden to promptly deliver long-range Army tactical missile systems to Ukrainian forces. They are already on the ships or on the planes. They are ready to be sent. When this is going to pass, the next day, the airplanes are going to be on their way to Poland. As soon as practicable after the date of enactment of this act, the President shall transfer long-range Army tactical missile systems to the government of Ukraine in defending itself and achieving victory against the Russian Federation. Like what? How are they going to win? Go to Moscow? Like Napoleon? These guys want to fuck them up with some nuclear weapons. And these guys will not give a shit. Well, that's why, maybe the perpetrators should pay a price, not the tools. Let's say you have a gun. And the gun is there to be used. And the gun could be used in for many reasons. You can defend your family with it against a bad guy, or you can be a thief, or you can be a murderer. You just go and use it for bad stuff. Now, if the police would go and damage only the gun and leave the perpetrator, the criminal, at large, it didn't solve the problem. Not at all. Because the perpetrator, the criminal, the suspect, will pick another gun and they're going to use that to commit another crime. Therefore, go to the origin. House lawmakers are set to vote on the legislation as well as Israel and Taiwan aid bills on Saturday evening. And someone is laughing here, or at least showing his teeth. Look at this weasel. Look at that guy. Oh my God. The Ukrainian. Right there. Is that the Ukrainian to you? Okay, yeah, all right. So, what I expect. I expect, based on my assessment and understanding of how life is, that this bill will not pass the first time it was put on the floor to be voted on. Why? I think because these guys want to show us that the system is working and that there are really two sides that are reasoning, debating, arguing, really fighting for two opposite opinions or visions. I think this is what's going to happen. I've been wrong before, and I'm going to play something very ugly, because I'm convinced of that. Convinced, 99.9%. If this passes from the first shot, and Ukraine will get $60 billion, 60.80 something billion dollars from the first shot, then this is going to be my conclusion. I will tell you right now. Those guys really, really, really disconsider the American citizenry. They consider them as baboons because we don't even have to play the game anymore. Oh, we're going to be in opposition. We're going to debate. We're going to, no, we're going to fight for you people, for you. No, you don't want to send it. No, we care for America. And as I said, they will show at least some negotiation. If they don't show the negotiation and it just goes like that means those guys don't even bother. Don't even bother to explain or to pretend anymore. They just do it in front of everyone. Why? Because they know the mass media did its job very well, so the baboons will not have questions. On the contrary, the baboons will celebrate it as being a success of the system and of a democracy and freedom. So I think it's not going to pass because I still have a little bit of, how should I put it? I trust those guys that are still cautious. A lot of times, criminals got caught because they got too, how should I put it? Careless. They got too arrogant. Like, they're not gonna catch me. I'm too smart. They don't need to do this, and they don't cover anymore. It's enough just to put one blanket over the lie instead of putting 15,000. It's too much effort, and besides, the baboons will not bother to figure it out. So if they're getting to that situation, it's going to be clearer for people like us to have those examples as, look at these guys, don't even bother. So if it passes from the first attempt, 60 billion, then that means they don't care about these guys, which is going to be a mistake. And I'm going to explain something else after I'm finishing my point. If they at least bother to pretend and will pass, but with about 50 billion, the baboons or people in the middle will say, well, see, the system works. They debated, man. They debated, they negotiated. This is what I expect. Now, it's a good thing if it passes from the first time, because people that probably are in the middle will see this going like a script. Going like a script. Someone said, a doctor, I can't mention his, just the first name I will mention, William. Dr. William is enough for some of you. Go and check him out. He said that one of the mistakes the eternal victims, the perpetual victims made was they showed up too much. They got so certain they got the country by the ball, certain countries, by the balls, that they didn't have to hide anymore. So they took their mask, or they came to the forefront of the garbage. Like you see, for instance, I'm going to give you a few examples. Nowadays, you're not supposed to see any, and please don't see any connection between, for instance, Yellen being the Treasury Secretary, the Blinken being the Foreign Minister of the United States of America, Secretary of State, right? Which has all kind of others around. Mayorkas, look at who Mayorkas is, being over there. Look at, for instance, Zelensky being right there with his clique. Look at his Prime Minister of France. Look at Defense Minister of Great Britain, and many more. They don't hide. Now, if you find the same example for, let's say, Romanians, or Hungarians, or French, or I don't know, Bulgarians, or Albanians, or whatever like this, you show me the same pattern of, then yeah, so they show up too much, and people will notice. And when people notice, they cannot, be so baboons not to connect the points that are not supposed to be connected, because they're not, no dots to be connected, okay? But I'm just saying, that's a good thing for some of us, and for people in the middle, because you can use that as an example. And if people would say, so what, it's just a coincidence, you can say that. Remember Dave Chappelle? Well, if it's a Italian group, it's a mafia. If it's a black group or African American group, and that's a gang. And if it's it's just a coincidence. People will see that something wrong. Why? Because they can't mention anybody else, any other group that is like that. And to say that a group is better than another group, that's wrong. If you see that a group is more capable in certain areas than another group, that's wrong. So you can't use that argument either, because you can say Romanians are more, intelligent than, let's say, this group. You can't say that. Or the Romanians are better at ballet than the Russians. You can't say that. Well, because there's something native in there. It's innate. It's in there. Genetical. You can't say that. But you can say in NBA that those guys are better than the rest. But when you talk about CEOs or anything like that, no, you have to have this. Keep it over there. So again, I am 99.9% certain the bill will pass. And I'm not talking about Israel. Israel just goes without saying. It's clear. It's why? We already know why. Mentioned it a minute and a half ago. But the bill will pass. For me, is just how it will pass. 60 billion or about 50 billion. So that even they bother to hide a little bit, or they just come out and say, my name is Mr. I don't know, Kosmanensky, or I don't know, Kosmans Goldberg or something. They come and tell you. Are you gonna hide or no? That's the only thing that for me right now is I'm eager to see on the 20th of April. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.